Welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I am just one of your humble hosts, Sean Boyle, and with me is
Ashley Mock.
And welcome to the half-hour TV show that takes place in partnership with St. Lucie Public Schools, specifically WLX TV, to educate the viewers, that is you, about resources and things that are available for children and families in St. Lucie County. Now, we at the Children's Services Council, media is not our specialty. You picked that up as soon as we started talking.
Shocking information.
Well, what we do at the Children's Services Council is we focus on 5 priorities, and those priorities are: 1, making sure every baby's a healthy baby; 2, stopping child abuse before it happens; 3, keeping kids off the streets; 4, keeping them in school; and 5, keeping them off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors. And we do that by developing and funding programs and systems of care that are available to all children and families in St. Lucie County.
So this show is a place where we introduce you to some of those programs and resources in a very entertaining way. So we like to...
That's a very relative term, by the way. We think it's entertaining. You may have already turned the channel.
It is very entertaining, but we kind of call it a kitchen table conversation, if you will. So like we try to make it easy to understand. We want you to meet the people that are actually doing the work in the community and kind of make it an easy conversation with them. So this show is a great place to learn about those programs and the work that they're doing, and to maybe even identify a resource that your family or a friend's family or a coworker's family might benefit from.
If this is a kitchen table conversation, we can talk to the producers of the show. Could we bring in food?
A real kitchen table?
I would totally eat while we're talking.
That's a whole different show, but we could figure that out. I like it.
So, okay, above and beyond watching the show, how else can they learn about the resources?
So you brought props.
I did bring props.
Today.
You like my segue to the props?
I appreciate that. So we do have a printed guide to those programs. So this year we are actually working with 54 programs that are all listed in this guide to programs. You can get this lovely printed version that Sean is displaying for you. You can find them all on our website at cscslc.org. We can bring these printed copies to you if you have a location where you could share this information. Lots of different ways to get connected to the programs. We also share about them or things that they are doing in the community on Facebook. That's a thing that people still do. Share
or the Book of Faith.
The Book of Faith, Sean's favorite. But we share a lot of information on social media too, not just about the programs and the work that they're doing, but upcoming events, things for families, important tips, things like that. As we get closer to the summer, because man, is it hot outside already.
I swam here.
It's for real. But we share a lot of like safety tips, things about water safety, all kinds of stuff that you can stay connected to us on Facebook, on social media. But all of that information is available there.
And if you're bored one night, or if you're sitting in your office streaming this, and open up that other tab on your computer and go to our website, because we have a lot of information on there, as Ashley mentioned already, the programs, but we also have our annual impact report. And you may say, Sean, Ashley, what does that mean? We kind of roll up all the impact, all the wonderful outcomes that our programs have into a very easy to read coloring book version of an annual report, specifically designed to be read in 3 minutes or less. But some of the highlights on this annual report, besides the numbers, is, we reached over 60,000 kids last year.
Yeah.
But behind each one of those numbers is a success story. So this annual report shares those success stories as well as on our website.
Yep. And all of that is easy to find. We hope it's easy to find. But again, we have printed copies of those. So if you do have the capacity to share that information, we would love to do that. We would love to come out and talk to you about it, whether you have a civic group or the staff at your office. We'll come and really talk to anyone, anywhere.
Entertaining. Kind of like this, except better maybe. Entertain, but we actually have a quiz that we can run with your workplace or your civic group or your church, where we kind of talk about where we've been and where we are in the state of children in St. Lucie County.
And like, spoiler alert, but we're moving in the right direction.
Don't give away the answers.
No answers. We're definitely not where we want to be in all scenarios.
But we're trending in the right direction.
But we're trending in the right direction.
And
all good news.
Just so that I stay relevant with all the kids that are watching, we're, beyond Facebook, we're also on Instagram.
Right, which is way more fun.
So just look up St. Lucie. It's like Facebook without the words. Just look up St. Lucie CSC, and I'm proud to say that we actually have a reel.
We do, thanks to you.
Yeah.
And rock, paper, scissors.
Exactly. Which,
Check
if
it
you're
out.
watching that, you don't know what that means. I just learned it like a month ago. So.
Check it out. It's a good time. It's very entertaining.
All right, so you did mention real quick before we get to our guest that it's hot out. Spoiler alert, it gets hot in Florida around this time of the year, and it stays this way. We kind of bypass
For too long.
spring. We just jump right into the heat of summer.
Yeah.
But when it gets hot out and when there's high school graduations, we know that means that summer is rapidly approaching.
That is
the
true.
Children's Services Council, we fund one of our categories is keeping kids off the streets. They all are transformers. They turn it from after-school programs to summer programs. In addition to that, I think this year we're funding 9 different summer camps as well. So if your child is not in a summer camp, do not fret, do not panic. But now would be the time to go to our website, look up the summer camp offerings,
Yep.
or I'm sorry, summer learning experiences.
Summer learning experience.
And get your child enrolled because, while you're at work, what is your child doing? If they don't have a plan, trust me, they will find something to do, and it may or may not be something that you want them to do. So make sure that they're enrolled in something positive, and we have something from children 5 all the way up to 18. Some really cool stuff for the
I was going to
teenagers.
say, there's some really cool things happening this summer. And just as a reminder too, I know as a parent, I think I had this conversation with you when summer camp started getting advertised this year. I was like, first of all, why isn't it for the whole week, and why isn't it for the whole day? And so we really have made a priority of making sure that our camps are covering that option for families. So
The
please,
majority of them.
the majority of them. So please take a look at them. If you have any questions, all of their contact information is on there, whether it's, we tried to list all the information about their opening days, their opening times, fees, if there are any. For the most part, they are very low. So check it out there if you don't have an option yet for summer. There's some really cool things going on
And a
there.
really cool thing before we get to our guest that's waiting very patiently, a really cool thing that we do in the summer, and we started this, I'm going to say 5 years ago, but it's probably longer. When we would get summer funding requests, a lot of camps would want money for field trips and send their kids to Orlando and Busch Gardens and out of the community, which is great, but we're using local dollars. We want to make sure those dollars stay in our community. So what we've done is we partner with the Chamber of Commerce, and all of our summer programs participate in this because the way you keep kids' attention in a summer program is you have field trips.
You have fun.
It's a thing called Summer Passports. So, for example, Lisa's Kayaks, Sail a Key, the Cupcake Lady, who usually all these Oxbow, the Manatee Center, I'm missing a bunch. The Children's Museum, all those things that typically slow down in the summer because it's a seasonal thing. We have less population here in the summer. What we do is we partner with the chamber, so our summer camps can go attend Lisa's Kayaks, can go on the water, can go make cupcakes, can go to Oxbow, the Manatee Center. So they have like local field trips. And what that does is twofold. One, it keeps our dollars here, but it also helps support businesses locally. But also, you'll be surprised how many kids in our community have never even been on the water in our community. We are a coastal community, and we've had directors that contact us after they went to Lisa's Kayaks. I remember saying that this was life-changing for these kids because even though they lived 3 miles from water, they'd never been to the beach, much less on a kayak.
Yeah, it's a really cool, I know we've had some really good conversations. Also, Captain Chop, who runs a boat, they take the kids on a river cruise. Just some really cool experiences that they should have the opportunity to do right here in our backyard. And so that program has grown tremendously thanks to the chamber and what they have invested in it and what we have invested in it. So it's a really cool opportunity for them to get to experience some things right here.
Yeah, big shout out to the chamber. So I am not wearing green, and I should have totally been wearing green. I'm usually better about this.
I know.
Oh, I do have slight green on my watch band. But
Missed opportunity.
we're wearing green because this month is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, so May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I feel like we talk a lot about it. You and I have used this show as our own personal therapy sessions more than one time.
I'm aware of my own mental health, if that helps.
Well, you know what? I'm excited to talk to our guest today. We joked before the show started. She's one of our favorite guests, and we try to bring her back as often as possible.
She gets like a gold jacket. I think this is her 5th or 6th appearance.
At some point. But I love the way that this conversation has shifted to mental wellness. And that's kind of the way that everyone is talking about it now, because I think that encompasses more than just health, as people would sort of would look at it that way. So anyway, we're really excited. We have Andrea Greenlee with us from Tykes Teens, who's been a great partner of ours in the community with all of their ventures into the mental health world. And we've got some exciting things that you guys are doing, some new, some opportunities for St. Lucie County families, we hope. So I don't know where you want to start. I know maybe we'll just start with the idea that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It kind of gives us an opportunity to focus the conversation a little bit on what's happening in the world of mental wellness and what that looks like.
Perfect.
And what you guys are doing to kind of drive that here.
All right. Yes, I want to point out I am also not wearing green, but my name is Greenlee.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that covers it.
Well played, well played.
You get a pass.
So as far as mental wellness goes, I think it's really important to kind of keep like a dashboard in your car. This is how I'm kind of trying to conceptualize it. And, you know, it shows us whether our gas is low. So as people, we can decide where are our key components. Is it our exercise routine? Is it our work life? Is it our family life? And is it the fun we're having? And so if you keep those ideas and kind of monitor, how am I doing on this on a monthly basis? Am I missing out on a lot of the joy that I should be because I'm feeling really stressed? That gives you an indicator to maybe do something a little bit different, because I feel like as humans, working humans, it's very easy to get swept up in the stream of stress and activity. And maybe we forget that we need to take some time to really make sure that we're focusing our energy on what's best for us.
I love that analogy. I think that's so good.
I think there's this thing we do as adults, and I know we're a children's show, and we're going to talk about awareness, but I think there's this thing that we do with adults where we're like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm so busy. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm busy too. And
Right.
Like, let's see if we can
It's the cult of busy.
Yeah.
It's the cult of busy.
And I don't think that's healthy.
No. So you really have to take time and step out of that rat race, I think, and make sure that you're doing what brings you joy. And I think it is important as adults and parents, because how stressed we are definitely impacts our children. They're little thermometers, and we can say everything's great, but they are really a good indicator about really how are we doing.
I love that too. And I think too, you know, as parents, not only are they paying attention to how we're responding to them, but also how we're responding to our partners. Like my husband and I started this thing, I don't know if I've even shared this with you, but like we kind of have this conversation with each other when we get home. Maybe I've had a really rough day and I'm at a 2 today, and I need you to be the 8 to make us a whole 10. And so like I just need you to know that coming into the house today, I'm a 2.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna need you to make up the rest of it. And so I think the kids have started to notice it too. And so my girls last week, one of them had a rough day and she got in the car and she was like, I am a 2. And I was like, okay, baby, we're good.
Yeah,
Like, we'll figure it out.
But what a great dashboard. That's your dashboard. So that's your communication, and you're a 2, and your husband knows he has to pick up the rest. So I think that's awesome, because we have to communicate that so that others know exactly what it is that's needed.
I do think, based on some of the conversations I've had with my children, they are so much more adept at talking about mental wellness than I think we are in our like adult life.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of the landscape is just different for them. But they talk about it so openly and so honestly, and I love that about them. Because they're very in tune with what's going on, and I think very easily communicate, like, I'm not okay today, and I realize that that's fine for me, but you know, this is where I'm at. And I think maybe generationally, they're getting better.
That's awesome, because that's what we want. We want to kind of normalize that conversation and talk about mental wellness so that we know, well, I'm not really good right now, but here are some steps that I can take to get better.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a genuine concerted push to make mental health wellness just as prevalent as physical wellness, right?
Absolutely.
So, and we're starting to see that, and I think COVID also helped open up that window too. We all had a little mental health.
We all had to talk about it.
But let's talk about. So we're going to talk about programming and stuff. But let's talk about if somebody doesn't have the number dashboard, which you have, which is awesome. By the way, I want to see those numbers. No, for you personally.
I'll write them down.
But if they don't have those, as a parent, what are some of the signs, for example, where maybe my child, we haven't had that conversation where my child can say, I'm a 2 out of 10, but, what, like, observationally can you watch or look for as a parent to make sure that your child is mentally wellness is okay?
Well, so you look for a change in behavior. I mean, if they're normally really bubbly and positive and they're engaged in sports or doing well in school, if you notice a change in that, that's an indicator to kind of check in and say, I've noticed a little bit. Like, you're not as happy about going to your, grandma's house or whatever. Is there something going on? Can we talk about it? And they may not be ready, but you're planting a seed. So if you ask that question and they don't answer, just make sure, set a reminder on your phone, write a little Post-it note. I got to check in with Johnny. He didn't seem right, he wasn't ready to talk, and I need to get back in touch with him. But changes in behaviors, sudden changes in behaviors, just not seeming like themselves, because like kids are their own little thermometers for us, but we know them very well and are very adept at noticing those slight little changes where you're just like, that doesn't seem like Johnny.
Right.
Yeah, so those times that you're going like, that doesn't seem, that's when you do a check-in and just say, hey, I've noticed this. And that opens the door. You're not accusing them. You're not saying, hey, what happened? Why did you get a C on your report card? You're just kind of being curious about, I've noticed this, and I know that's not your usual way. So being curious about those changes, I think, is a really big tip.
And, actually, I learned this early in parenting. You already said it. It's all about communication, right?
Yes.
And the great time for communication is car rides.
Absolutely. I had that experience this morning. Yeah. So
as long as you take the headphones away,
Captive
it's the
audience.
greatest.
Yes. I was on the way taking my 17-year-old to school this morning, and he was awarded an award last night, and something happened, and I shifted the focus, and I was really proud of him, but the focus was more on, we need to do this better. So when we had the car ride this morning, I was like, look, Matt, I need to apologize. Last night didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to, and I want you to hear from me, first and foremost, I am so proud of you. And then we'll set a time to maybe check in later. But it is those car rides because you don't have to look at each other. You can be
awkward.
funny. It's not. And I find that he really opens up during that time as well. So that is time to be treasured and savored. Absolutely.
I think too, as a parent of multiple children, that my husband and I talk often about prioritizing one-on-one time with each of them too, because so I pick both of my girls up at the same time. So having those car conversations with both of them is different than having those car conversations with one of them at a time. And so we really try to prioritize, whether it's him or I, like one-on-one time with each of the kids, because that does give them an opportunity to talk a little bit selfishly about what's going on with them. But it's a good check-in too.
Yes.
For us to understand what's going on with and maybe he's the better person to talk to our daughter that day.
Right, because you know that. Like, this is, you have this, you field this ball, you know? But that makes me think of, I have this dear friend who is a psychologist, and when she was raising her children, every night there was 15 minutes that the kid got to do exactly what he wanted to do. That included him being Peter Pan and like them flying him around the house with a sheet wrapped around him. I mean, it was that level. But exactly, you need that one-on-one time. In 15 minutes, maybe you make it 10, but you're setting the priority and saying to your kid, this is really important to me, and you're really important to me. So those are some preventative things that you can build into your day to kind of build that relationship and create the atmosphere that kids will want to talk and share.
And it's in this, and we're talking, I'm thinking, there's some families that they're single parent, and there's competition, right? So competition, because really what we're talking about is giving your child attention, being aware, and establishing communication. But there's a big obstacle to all that we all carry around with us, right? So any recommendations if you're like, I try to talk to my kid, but he's always on his phone or he's always on video games or...
I think as parents we have to be really careful about how we treat the phone, and we have to demonstrate the expectation. So it's kind of, you can't really say don't be on your phone if us as parents are on our phone all the time. So be mindful mindful of that. And I'm a big fan of setting timers and just saying, go to the microwave, set 10 minutes and say, this is a no phone zone right now. I don't have my phone. We're going to talk. And it may take 3 minutes before the pout gets over.
Right.
But if you enter into it with like having some humor or maybe tell a joke, like I love telling jokes now. Maybe come to it with a joke and then that'll liven up things. But 10 minutes, we can find 10 minutes and just set a timer. There's close-ended, so kids aren't like, this is going to take forever. You know, everyone agrees it's just 10 minutes.
Sounds just like my kid. So kind of to Sean's point, you know, for families who maybe have identified that their child is struggling with something, you guys are a great resource used by my family, used by your family. What are the options for families who maybe do identify that their kid just needs a little support, something that they can't offer?
Yep. So they're always welcome to call us. We have some new things coming. We have our DBT group that's just about to be announced. We're training someone right now. And what that means is middle school and high schoolers who have some behaviors where they can't really regulate their emotions. You know, they have really big feelings that maybe they don't display appropriately. They can come to this skills-based group and learn how to handle that better. That's an additional service that we're offering.
We need that information.
We still
Just slide
have
that to me, please.
That'd be great.
we still have our individual counseling. And summertime, a lot of people kind of go on trips and availability. We generally have a little more availability. So if you're flexible on what times you can bring your child, that's a good time to get into our services. And we do, in Martin County, we're offering a summer camp like you were mentioning. And if you're a client of Tykes here in Port St. Lucie and want to bring your child to our camp, you just need to drive them to the Hope Center for Autism. We do a wonderful partnership with them. And I laugh because it's kind of like planning a birthday party, a 5-hour birthday party every day of the week for 2 months. But it is so much fun, and the kids get so much out of it because we're able as therapists to intervene when there is a situation between the children, like a disagreement. We can separate them and in life give them skills to be better and handle the situation better. So those are a few of our things that we have going on.
That's great. So I know you guys have a very full website that includes all of that information.
Yes.
So do you want to give the website and the phone number for anybody who's looking for more?
Yes. So our phone number is 772-220-3439, and our website is www.tykes, all spelled out, teens.org. So jump on there, see what we have, and if you have any questions, you're always welcome to give us a call, and we'll try to be helpful.
And you guys are also on Facebook as well.
Yes, we're on Facebook.
The Book of
Face. Yep, the Book of Face. And I think we're on Instagram. But you know what the most popular social media platform is? YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Which I didn't really think that was social media, but it is.
And that's where you can find this radio show.
Look at that.
Just go to WLX TV. Great segue. WLX
a
TV.
segue.
And watch us as we've grown literally 10 years plus on this radio show.
Aged. You meant aged.
Aged, yes. Yes. We've grown, yeah. There's a joke in that. I'm going to leave that alone. So we're talking about mental health awareness and mental wellness, I should say. And obviously, you know, that looks different if you're talking about a 3 or 4 year old versus a teenager.
Yes.
But like on a day-to-day, you know, and you kind of hit upon it. Like there's this, you know, it used to be called the rat race. I don't know if they still call it that.
Right.
But like, you know, every day becomes routine. You're like, I just got to get the 5. I got to make dinner. I got to do homework help. Get the kids to bed. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, the
You're
grind. Maybe they call it the grind.
Yeah,
now.
the grind. Yeah. But so like, just so that, you know, and then next thing you know, weeks go by and then you're celebrating Christmas and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a year older.
Yeah.
But like, how do you, like, as a parent, caregiver, how do you pause that in a way? Or at least take a moment to...
I think you have to really be intentional and look at your life and say, you know, this isn't, something needs to change. And what does that look like? And then spend some time wondering, like, is it on the weekends? I really want to make a point of once a month going to the Oxbow or exposing them to something different. Maybe it's a hobby that you as a parent enjoy. Maybe it's photography and you want to share that with your child. Kind of being curious and setting aside time to decide what do I want this to look like for me. And then being intentional and maybe putting it on your calendar, putting on a reminder on your phone and saying, once a month on the second Saturday, I'm going to teach you how to knit. Get ready, because it's going to be so much fun. And they may hate it. That's the thing. I think as parents, I've done this. When I get pushback, it's like,
It's too hard.
I don't want to do it. But I think it's really important that we push through anyway, because they may not love it at 13, but when they're 30, they may come back to it and say, hey, this was something my mom shared with me, and maybe I'll pick it up again.
It really, sometimes I feel like, my kids are now, how old are they? 10, 13, and 14. I had to remember that. But I feel like even at their still seemingly young age, like they will recall something like, do you remember when we went and did this? And for me, it was a super insignificant thing.
Yeah.
But it's the one thing about a trip or something that they remember. And it's always interesting to me what they walked away with from that memory, or what it is about that thing that they remember. And so I do like the idea of like, even the insignificant moments are happy or joyful or memorable. It doesn't have to be the massive birthday party. It doesn't have to be the huge vacation.
Yes.
Or what you spent money on.
Right.
9 times out of 10, they don't remember the gift they gave you, but they'll remember. My son's thing that he hung on to, that sounds negative, but that he really enjoyed was when it was hurricane and we were all in the closet, and this one they were little, and we were playing with a glow-up ball.
Yeah.
That was really stressful for us, but that was like one of his happiest memories.
Yeah.
You just never know.
I think as parents, we think we control that. And I think the message is, we don't. We just need to recognize we can present them with these opportunities, and then they'll take away with it what they will, and it's up to them. And we as parents will be surprised at what those moments are.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the day-to-day and the grind, and it doesn't even have to be, and I'm going back to when your son got recognized at school.
Yeah.
Like taking a moment and just telling
Savoring
them,
it.
being directly, savor and telling them directly, because I think children, you'll laugh at this, when they're younger, they think we have all the answers.
Yeah. Right.
When they get older, they have all the answers, but the truth is, nobody has the answers.
Nobody has the answers. Yes.
And so
one
maybe, and sometimes, be open about what you're thinking and feeling, so they kind of get a little bit of insight into you as a person.
Well, and being willing to apologize. I think that is a huge thing too. Like I screwed up last night, and I wasn't afraid to tell him.
Right.
And I think that repair is a huge builder of relationships, and it started off the conversation really well.
And I'm thinking about, Ashley, as we have a couple minutes left, about what you're doing with your kids about the number. And there may be people watching me like, oh, Ashley, that's a great idea. I wish I had done that. It's not too late.
No, do it.
My point is, it's kind of fun to start it off, and especially if you as the adult or caregiver lead it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're going to do this, and by the way, I'm a 4 today.
Yeah, it could be Post-it notes. It could be smiley faces.
Oh, I like that.
It could be, different colored Post-it notes. I'm a yellow or whatever. Just as long as you guys understand and come up with it.
I love that. Very
All right,
good.
so as we wind down this show and this month, and let me make sure I get it right. It's Mental Wellness Month?
Mental Health Awareness Month.
Okay,
actually.
Mental Health Awareness Month, where we're all wearing green.
Pretend.
But, and it's so important. So, Andrea, before we go, can you just give out Tykes Teens information? Because when we talk about services for families, particularly children, regarding this area, there's no better leader than Tykes Teens.
Yes, so call us at 772-220-3439, or our website is tykesandteens.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Next time
My
we'll
pleasure.
get you the silver jacket. It'll be your 8th time. But we want to thank everybody for watching. It's a weekly, my correction. It's a monthly television show in partnership with WLX TV, St. Lucie Public Schools channel. We're so grateful for it. We're grateful for every watch. Please share the information, and remember that it's our children, our community, our future. Now more than ever, we're all in this together. We'll see you next month.